I mentioned, like you're already seeing a little bit of the gameplay out of how I introduced it. You have a lot of random encounters, random rooms, random enemies. And you'll see here Nitro picking up a boon from an Olympian. Along the way, you're offered a lot of perks like upgrades within the run to get yourself through. And the first one that happened a few chambers ago was the Athena Dash, which has a little deflecting bubble. And one important distinction that I guess hasn't been made yet is that this is strictly a damageless run, not a hitless run. You are basically forced into picking a deflecting boon. So while damageless is technically possible, it is orders of magnitude higher or harder than anything we could ever expect to see accomplished in somebody's lifetime.
Right. Anytime you
um,
see those four little shields pop up, projectiles will be deflected. So it's safer than it looks. I know this game kind of lends itself to chaos and everything looks like a disaster at every moment, but it's pretty calculated.
yeah. And going back to boons, while we're on the subject, we have one particular build in mind that we're going to be going for this event. Um, While Athena is typically a very defensive god, Ares is the second god you see, the red little square diamond up top. That is like our source of damage for the run. He provides a curse effect where after a little bit of a delay, basically a damage that like red sword that you see above enemies will fall down and deal damage. This is pretty good chunk of damage, and you can see Nitro basically like waiting it out on enemies to let them just die without having to actually get close and risk taking a hit. So we'll explain the build as it progresses, but that's like the primary source of the build that we're going to be looking for here.
Yep, you see, he takes the Athena route there, of course. Health will not save us here. I died to these guys my first time. I'll admit it. This was
Yeah,
my first step.
it's a very dangerous fight. You are always forced into this particular fight. There we go. Excellent. Okay, Athena's special is
Yep.
the boon that we wanted to see here. So a couple of things, I guess, something to explain the base kit. We are using a sword. The base attacks that you are going to be seeing are basically a swipe. If he dashes and then strikes, it's going to be like a lunging stab, and then you'll see this area of effect where he will basically just slam the sword into the ground. That is our special. We have Athena on the special, which means that we get a deflecting effect. This is an incredible source of safety throughout the fresh file run in general, let alone damageless. Because basically that area of effect persists for a little bit and provides a nice little safety buffer. Are we gonna get the thing?
Nice. There you go. Okay, takes phalanx shot there. Yeah, this is basically, we would categorize this as ideal. Now he's gonna get Meg. This is a fresh save file, so you're getting Meg every time, which is there's not many pros to this run, but like knowing you're getting Meg and being able to like know RNG on which sister you're getting, I guess is one of the few pros in this. You know what's coming for you, you know?
Yeah, as far as like regular Hades hitless runs go, you do fight one of three Furies, and Meg is traditionally like the easiest for hitless. There are definitely a few hard attacks. Like it's not downplaying the difficulty at all, but it's definitely much more consistent, much more predictable.
Nice, and she's impervious. So anytime you see that little diamond around her, he'll probably take a step back. She won't take damage for that. Yeah, well, now he's got dash and the special. I mean, you're going to see these shields spans pretty much the whole time. So he's in a good spot.
Going into the final phase. Ooh, very nice dodge.
It's those little roaming purple balls. They'll get you more than anything, I swear. Classic hitless stuff. Yeah, obviously this is damaged by me, hitless in general. I can't tell you how many times a rogue ball.
Yeah, it really shows to the skill that Nitro has built up, just the constant like environmental awareness that he's able to just keep everything in mind as he's progressing and dealing damage at a really rapid rate.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. That is that Fury down is the first boss, the first biome complete. Like I had mentioned, we progressed through 4 different biomes in this run, and we are about a fourth of the way done. We are now entering Asphodel, which is a lava biome. And yes, you do take damage from standing on lava, so that is another environmental source of risk of damage in this run that Nitro has to start accounting for while routing through rooms and dealing damage.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, what is it like? Less than a second that damage and lava procs. I mean, you can dash through it, but um, yeah, that's once you're getting into Asphodel here, you're that lava is a pain, especially for damageless. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, you can see him take a little bit of extra time to pause between dashes to try to like line up and make sure he's getting through across the lava safely. You also see a lot more traps in Asphodel too, which is another potential source of damage, but also potential source of damage for him because they also damage enemies. And you'll see a lot of really skillful use of these types of things throughout the run.
Mm. And a lot of these enemies, you'll kill them and you'll be on top of the world, and then there's more to come. A lot of them you'll see they'll drop bombs after they're dead. So even though an enemy has dropped, you
Oh,
might see
here we
Nitro
go.
still dashing order, and then we got Ares. Let's go. We
Let's
got a
go.
duo.
Okay, so
That's huge.
here's the primary source of damage for Fresh File. I previously mentioned that Ares' effect is basically a delayed damage effect. But as you saw, two gods appear. We are getting what is known as a duo boon in Hades. It is basically a combined effect between Athena and Ares, which is, in this particular case, Merciful End. Instead of that sword taking time to be delayed and deal damage, if you conduct a deflect ability on an enemy, like dashing through them or hitting them with a special while they have the sword above their head, it will instantly proc and deal bonus damage, which is incredibly powerful. If you watch those like red numbers appear, you'll see a constant like stream of 90s at this point, which is so much stronger than the sword based damage. So this is like the peak fresh file build right now. Nitro is really gaming.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is a great start for him. Yeah, and by the way, enemies are affected by traps, lava too. So you see, he knocked the one Skelly there back into the trap. One of the few games where we get, as a player, the enemy too takes damage for once.
So
Thank God.
we got a quick donation from
Sure.
Kappa.
Kappa?
Kappa said Nitro do be dashing and whooping. Whooping or whooping? I don't know. Merciful End goes burr 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 burr. I hope I did that right. Or it should be like burr burr like Gucci. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do the kids do these days? Am I right?
Kids are definitely not using Merciful End these days. That's what I know.
Awesome
Thank you,
start,
Kappa.
by the way, Deadeye. This has been awesome so far. Thanks for having us. I mean, 2,500 halfway through day 2. I mean, that's nuts. So congrats on a successful event so far. This has been awesome.
Cheers.
We're coming up on the end of Asphodel now. We are approaching the second boss. We have one final shop to see if we need to get anything, which looks like we're not taking anything. And we will be fighting the Lernaean Bone Hydra. This is another multi-phase boss, which actually is quite deceptively dangerous. You'll see this Hydra do a ton of slam attacks, a ton of projectile launching, but with the damage that we've accumulated from the Merciful End build, you can see that Nitro is going to be flying through it.
Most fun boss in the game, in my opinion. Super fun.
Yeah. And as we progress through the phases, Lerny will become invulnerable, as you can see on the main head, and you will summon side heads. You have to kill all of them to proceed to to deal damage to the main boss. So you really have to deal with 4 enemies and more at a time safely, which is very, very dangerous in terms of hitless and damageless.
And you see that hitbox comes out just a hair. So he knows the whole room. He knows the spots, his timings. I mean, this is awesome so far.
And yeah, Lerny is particularly notorious for ruining hitless runs because the hitboxes can also sometimes linger on dead heads. So sometimes you'll kill an enemy or kill one of the heads while it's in a slam attack, and it'll still hit you anyway. So Nitro is very, very aware of all the nuances that come with defeating this boss safely. He's performing very skillful execution of the fight, and there we go. Button down. Still 0 hits.
That's it for Asphodel, and now we move on to Elysium. in my the bane of many newer players in Hades. It
Yes.
is very difficult. It's got no shortage of enemies that you want to print out a picture of and throw darts at.
Yeah, it definitely is the biggest difficulty spike, even just as a casual player, and it definitely has its own like frustrating quirks for Hitless too.
But don't worry, at the end you're rewarded with a very simple boss fight, right?
About that.
Yeah, about
Um,
that.
so yeah, this is the time where I think it's really important to highlight the difficulty of this biome in terms of Hitless. You'll see like swordsmen spawn in particular, and then they spawn into a little like basically what amounts to a soul that can respawn, and you'll have to fight the swordsman all over again if you don't clear the eyeball soul thing in
Right.
time. Um, and as there are about a few enemies that you'll see like this with various weapons that still have the same like respawn mechanic, that Nitro needs to be wary about. Um, so here we go. There's archers with the same style of respawn that you'll see him manage beautifully.
Yeah, anytime you see that crosshair sitting over Zagreus, you know it'll change color, and that's his cue to dash.
So we got back-to-back donations, and hey guys, my PB is now 2 minutes. All right, I'm getting better and better as we go on. So 2 donations. The first one from Deke again, by the way. Another 20. Well, I don't know how much you did the first time, but I think it was also 20. Another $20. Loved Hades. Crazy to see it destroyed. Good luck and thanks for putting on this great event. And then our second donation is from Neo Sir. And $5 donation saying, all getting ready for Melano to hit the ground. Is Melano a boss? I don't get the context.
82 protagonist.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Very nice.
One little hit Super Giant is released about Hades 2. That is what we know is the main protagonist.
Gotcha. But yeah, definitely hype for Hades 2, and thanks again, guys, for the donations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Butterfly balls. Ugh. Walk me through the pain of a butterfly ball.
Yeah, all of those little butterfly balls are their own little projectile source of damage. Yep. Nitro is beautifully dodging them and destroying their hitboxes in time. So something that like came up during that room that was really powerful. Armored enemies typically get enhanced effects, and in Elysium, the bowman will launch 3 arrows at you in quick succession. So it's much more dangerous than their regular counterpart. Plus, they also don't get staggered because they're armored. That is one of the distinctions that I don't think we've talked about yet. That's really important. Although Nitro is still shredding everything, so it hasn't really come. You'll see him like hesitate now with armored enemies. Although he didn't really hesitate there, but basically, enemies will not be staggered, and you have to strip their armor before they start to become staggered from attacks. So you really need to be more careful, more aware of their attack patterns, and like it hasn't even come up until this point that it's even been something that we've noticed Nitro even hesitate for, and that really just proves the skill and knowledge that Nitro has in this game in Fresh File, let alone damageless. So
yeah, you see, he took a blinding flash in the last room. That gives. Is it 5 seconds? It'll mark. They call the mechanic exposed in Hades. For 5 seconds, they take bonus damage from behind. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Although I think he actually took Brilliant Riposte. He might have taken Blinding Flash already. I'm not sure. But either way, that is one of the boons that I'll likely be picking up.
Yeah, often you'll see these, like you said, after they'll have that little soul time period to come back, and they will go rogue. Okay, you'll think you've cleared a room, and then for some reason, there's no like items are proccing. You're like, what the hell? And then you don't realize someone's come back to life to steal your run. Impending doom there, nice.
Yeah, that's another key component of the damage that we're looking for here. So basically, what Impending Doom will do is it'll take the doom damage that Nitro is dealing and multiply it by basically a global 60%. It is an incredible power spike for the run. Not necessary to clear, but it definitely makes things a lot safer and a lot faster. Love to see that this at this point in the run.
Yeah, for damageless, obviously Athena is nuts. What other like synergies? Obviously Ares performing really well here. What other kind of synergies with Athena you look for in a run like this?
So we don't have it yet, but the only other thing that Nitro is looking for at this point from Athena is the legendary boon. Divine Protection. It gives you basically a shield that regenerates every like 20 seconds, and it blocks like one hit. Um, and it's not even, I don't even think it's required for Nitro. Like, he is honestly that talented that he's able to get this far in the run without it and also not
Yeah.
take any hits. Fingers crossed. But it's just that extra layer of comfort that he'll really start to be, if he does get it, he'll be more aggressive, more efficient in his attack cycles. And he really does make bossing here look super easy, but this is one of the real choke points in Fresh File that a lot of people get stuck on for a very long time.
Any run, honestly, this fight's a
Yeah,
nightmare.
yeah.
just playing the game for fun. It's these guys will remove the fun. So I assume ideal even on damage list, you're working on the Minotaur first every time, and then Theseus afterwards.
Yeah, that is the traditional strategy. Minotaur is definitely easiest to take out first. His second phase, both bosses here have like two phases, which is it's kind of hard to give a lot of like detailed info on because Nitro is clearing it so quickly. But
Yeah, slow down. What the hell?
can't tell
Take
us
a
in order
hit.
to slow
Show us you're
down.
mortal. Oh.
But yeah, the Minotaur is definitely the easiest second phase. There's like a few extra hitboxes that there's one hit, unfortunately.
Yep. And that's simply timing. I mean, he's had the rhythm all game. It's just it's tough to be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's number 2.
Yeah.
That was probably the most frustrating thing. This is Theseus' second phase. Well, there we go. There is the clear. But I will take a little bit of time to describe it. Basically, he will summon an effect from a random Olympian that you may have bypassed on your run so far. And Dionysus was spawning these random little pools. It was really kind of a pain. There's no way to predict it. He really just had to take his time and dodge. And like, even though he was still careful and skillful, it still caused a hit. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so that puts us at 2 there, Deadeye. I think Deadeye's working the hits, right?
Yep, I'm also Googling ISP issues.
Oh, Jesus.
I got you.
There we go then. It's all good. Yeah, now we are entering the 4th biome, the Temple of Styx, guarded by Cerberus. Fortunately, you don't have to fight the good boy, but...
Yes, thank God. And it can't be overstated. 2 is nuts. 2 hits is insane. We talked to Nitro before. He was like, give me sub 3, and that's a successful run. And I couldn't agree more.
But yeah, definitely agreed. Will be awesome to hit those goals for sure. But yeah, as we enter the Temple of Styx, basically micro plot spoilers, but you make an agreement with Cerberus where if you get him something to eat from the tunnels, he will basically let you go and into the final boss. Very skillfully using the geometry of the room to dodge lasers. Those are
he took a shot there, I think, on one of them.
Oh, did he take a hit?
Yeah, he's at 98.
98. Oh man, that looks like 3.
They're a pain. I mean, for hitless, damageless, you'll lose a lot of runs in these rooms, these tiny rooms. In my opinion, these are some of the worst. There's times I would rather go through Elysium 100 times in some of these small rooms.
Yeah. Very skillfully navigating around the lasers while also dodging satyrs that will shoot poison darts at you. Like the amount of micromanagement of enemies here that you'll see him like slowly slide in to hit an enemy to stagger them so he doesn't have to worry about them for a second. He'll like he just positioned that mini boss out of the way so he wouldn't take damage. Very nice.
Yeah. I think chat made a good point. I think the health pool, he was at 98. I don't think he healed all the way.
98
yeah, I think he might have been.
Okay, so it looks like we're just at 2 hits.
Yeah. Don't play. This is a tough one to watch. There's a lot going on, people. That was fun.
But yeah, something that's really bad about Styx enemies in particular. I will explain the rats first. They will burrow up from under the ground and deal a little burst of AoE, but fortunately he's able to clear them without taking a hit. But they are like one of the most notorious run killers for Hitless in general, let alone Fresh File. But yeah, a lot of enemies in Styx also cause like poison pools to appear, and those are also really bad source of damage. And then here is the agreed upon Satyr sack for the good boy Cerberus. We are done with the Temple of Styx.
Now, can you walk through you're not going to get sometimes you can go 4 or 5 rooms until you get the pool.
Yes, that is very true. About half the time you'll get the Satyr Sack after 2 tunnels, um, and sometimes it takes as long as 5, and that is another point of a run that can just be completely killed.
Yes, you
You
got
get through,
momentum.
yeah, you could get through those first 2 tunnels hitless, and then just have to keep going on, and then it's really just soul crushing. But yeah, here
Yeah.
we go into the final boss of Hades. Hades, no surprise.
Anyone who's got daddy issues, this one's for you. Great game for you. Honestly, maybe one of the few bosses in video games where I prefer the second phase. This first phase is a wild child, but he's gonna shoot those little skulls at him, and
Yeah, there's so here we go. The phase 1 of Hades is broken up into 3 little subparts. So this is the second subpart of the first phase where, ooh, there's hit number 3,
yeah,
unfortunate. But Hades will spawn additional enemies, and you have to manage taking them out. You have to manage safely positioning against them. They're also always armored, so you have to deal with the nuance of not being able to stagger them immediately. And all of that while Hades can come back and start fighting you. It is a very, very difficult part of the fight. Um, so even though he still got hit, like being able to take one hit in that phase and still progress in the
yeah.
fight is incredible.
And here's another aspect of RNG here. What enemies are you going to get when he spawns? I mean, archers, nightmare scenario.
Yeah,
Sometimes the chariots, but
yeah. I think he got
honestly,
pretty good
that
enemies.
was good. I would say I've never gotten that. What the hell?
Yeah. So we're going to phase 2 now. This is pretty much just a 1v1 with you and Hades. He introduces more effects, as you can see now. He's bringing pots into the arena, which are notoriously difficult. Oh, holy moly!
Oh,
Yeah, they produce a little AOE effect, trap effect that can deal a lot of damage. Unfortunately, that's hit number 4. And also those little skulls that we have been seeing so far, but Nitro has not let explode. Oof.
no, we're at 5. Yeah.
But yeah, they will basically also like anti-synergize with the pots, and they will clear the entire arena, activate all of them, and explode. And yeah, the lasers is also a new point of pain for the second phase. He will basically, oh man,
Oh,
yeah, he will
we're warming up.
basically. We're warming up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes sometimes you can get pinned with like laser wise. You're like, I see there's a ticking time bomb here. These heads are about to explode, and I'm kind of sitting here, and you kind of got to time your dash with those iframes to get back behind a piece of the map so you can protect yourself from the laser. That was just a tough situation, but we're
Yeah.
warming up.
We're warming up. We fortunately for Hades, I guess, well, for Nitro, not just Hades, for Nitro, these runs are going to be like 25 to 30 minutes. So we've really got time to get a few attempts to get a really, really powerful run going. And that was like an absolutely like brilliant first attempt. Even though we did die at the very end. Like it's a very, very difficult clear in itself, let alone damageless. So it is more than common that everybody will probably die to that about a dozen times before they ever get their first fresh file clear.
We got a
And
buffer
probably
here.
even.
We're back though.
Oh, we're back.
Maybe
All right.
I think I'm good over
We're
here.
back.
We back.
Yeah, we're
Let's
back.
go.
We're back. It was a
Awesome.
mini F. It only went down to 2K bitrate.
Lowercase f, people. Lowercase. Yeah, got the Vine Dash again. Let's go. These little guys are literally called numbskulls, and they will steal a run from you here or there. Sometimes you get a little antsy with the timing on the little head dash they'll do at you. But most of the time, I mean, he crushed it the first time. I think he'll be fine again.
Ooh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Nitro used the traps in the room to basically clear 2 of the enemies really quickly.
I
That is
see him doing that. He's manipulating
beautiful.
them really well.
Yeah, beautiful speedrun optimization in a damageless run. Like that's just incredible to see.
He was doing that in Asphodel. He was just kind of like whipping the map to his liking. It was that's tough to do. That's just like that's what 2,000 hours looks like.
Yeah.
I do it by accident and I pretend that I meant to do it. But Yeah, these little sorcerers. Oh, it was sometimes you joystick. I say, is he running controller with this?
Oh yeah, he's running controller.
Right.
Hades is one of those games where you can definitely use both. We've had brilliant players with even in Fresh File and Hitless for both keyboard, mouse, and controller. So it's definitely very flexible.
Yeah, and you said they're going to take damage, pinning them against the wall. That even though the pillar has fallen, they still take that damage against pinning them against the wall there.
Here we go. Getting Ares on the mini boss is also very nice. Ooh, there
Love
we
it.
go. Getting the Ares attack, so now we can start dealing damage a little bit more effectively. And yeah, I think now that we don't have crazy damage, it's easier to point out to notice the yellow health bar, the armor. You will see Nitro be much more skillful in how he like groups enemies and how he dodges them. Like he does make it look really easy, but there is a nonstop set of considerations that's going on while he's like maneuvering and dodging. He makes this game look too easy, honestly.
Yeah, Hades is this strange mix. It has like rhythm game aspects to it, with like your combos, depending on what your boon. But that rhythm can change based on what boons you're getting, what the run's giving you. So, but it's been pretty cool to see. He's crushing it. These guys look like me. Not the ones with the muscles, by the way. So darkness is the consolation prize in this, I guess.
Yeah. As you are progressing through a file normally, you do get a mix of rewards that like enhance your like meta progression versus enhancing this run. And usually for first file runs, the meta progression doesn't really matter because you're not actually meta progressing; you're just carrying on. Okay, here we go. Looking for that second Athena. Um, Looking for that Athena special. Another armored thug. Pretty brutal enemy, but he cleared it effortlessly as always. Absolute legend.
Now, what scenarios are you looking to like upgrade the boons you already have versus take? Like if I see Athena and a palm, and I got Divine Dash, am I looking to upgrade what I got, or are you trying to expand the kit on a fresh save file run?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Something I don't think we've touched on yet. So in particular, just to give a little bit more context, along with the boons from Olympians, you can get like pomegranates. You can see in the shop there on the far left. They will like upgrade your perks to like level 1 to 2 to 3, etc. And they just increase the power and effect. And there's really a trade-off between like when do you want like a new effect versus powering up your current effects. And for this build in particular, this build path of Merciful End, you typically want to focus primarily on just getting the core build assembled. So in this case, you can see on the left, he only has the bottom dash slot filled and the attack. You really want that. If you have opportunities to fill the special slot, you want to take that. You want to get that Athena special. That's going to be really important for the build in the long run. But then after that point, ideally you want to minimize the number of effects that you bring just so you can focus on making your current kit as powerful as possible. So that's kind of the like meta level decision making that you'll see Nitro do, and he'll be making these decisions in his head at the end of combats like instantly. He's just played that
Yeah,
much of the game that he's
there's
immediately
not
familiar.
not once. He knows exactly what door he's taking. I mean, I guess 800 plus runs will do that to you.
Yeah,
So all these
8,000
projectiles will be
pretty clearly.
deflected by the dash, which is nice, and even gets the kill with it. That's so satisfying. I love that. The divine dash shoots the projectile back at her, and we're out of here, folks.
Once again, clearing Tartarus with a pretty good time. Entering Asphodel for the second time.
I noticed on some speed runs, some people they'll call it's a fresh save file run, and they'll be able to run bow. I thought that was interesting.
Sorry, say that again. I missed what you said.
On some of these speed run wise, the fresh save file run, some people run bow. I didn't know you could do that. You can
Oh
like
yeah,
die and pick up.
yeah.
That's
As far as
interesting.
that's more of like a speedrun.com
Yeah,
kind of
you can't do
category.
that on
Um,
Hitless.
Uh, I don't know. I think the rules for that haven't really been mapped out, to be honest, because
Yeah, is he allowed to
nobody
die and
except
get
Nitro
no?
has nobody except Nitro has really been.
Nobody else wants to do it.
Yeah, like it's an incredibly difficult thing, but like for the speedrun category, there are like some setup runs where you can just do a little bit of meta progression, unlock a new weapon, and carry on. But I don't know, maybe if fresh file damageless really takes off, we could instate some rules, but
Yeah, and for anybody that wasn't here
uncharted
earlier,
territory.
Nitro also has the speed run record for this run. For anyone that wasn't here earlier, so is there any like speed run text that you would say apply to a damageless run, and maybe vice versa?
um like you are gonna see more hesitation in terms of like playing safe and trying to, obviously not take damage, but really we are at this point we are just looking to clear as fast as possible. It's just general hitless philosophy for games like this that are like damage based and action based, where the faster you kill enemies, the less likely you are to actually take
Yeah,
damage. you know, so there's going to be a lot of the gameplay that you see, particularly against like unarmored enemies, where they stagger. Those damage cycles are going to look identical, and that's like the same thing that Nitro has practiced for thousands of hours. It's a really well-oiled machine that you're going to see like when the opportunity presents itself here. Oof. This is actually a very an Athena drought. I think we're really looking for that special boon, and then the duo between them.
right. You
But
see,
we're not getting any there.
passed up on Ares there, saving the gold, I assume, for that next Athena's.
Yeah. We also picked up Impending Doom, which from Ares, those are pretty much the only two boons you want. So there's really not much benefit to taking
He
another
has what he
Ares at this
needs.
point. Um, but yeah, these are the types of decisions that you really just need to make. Like he's making on the fly, immediately recognizing what needs to be done.
Ooh, yeah, those little Medusa heads. Sometimes I swear, sometimes those little projectiles are invisible. Don't quote me on that.
I will quote you on that.
It wasn't me. Yeah, look at this little guy hiding back here. Get out of here.
They are really frustrating because they'll run away into the corner of a
Yeah,
room, and you'll have to go into lava to fight them.
they're
Um,
scared. They get scared.
Understandable. I would be scared if I had to fight
I'm scared.
Nitro,
I'd be scared of Nitro too. Nitro's the final boss.
the real final boss of Fresh File.
In the DLC, you kill your dad, and then you got to go fight Nitro.
Oof, these guys are particularly annoying for damageless too. They just spawn. They can shoot waves at you from across the map, and sometimes you don't even see them coming until they're right next to you. And then it's man, another Ares.
And the speed will pick up.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is so many Ares boons, man.
Yeah.
Nitro's really you can really see him deliberating on like if we should be taking that pomegranate now, like
Right.
if we should be power up what we have now, or just like save money, go all in on trying to actually assemble the build. Yeah, I think back at Lerny, end of Asphodel, we're really going to see the build quality be a huge difference on this one. Previously, in the previous run, you'll notice that Nitro had basically instantly shredded the boss, and he didn't have to worry about staying safe at all. But even in this first phase, he's already having to play safe.
Yeah, this
Like
is
that's
going to
just
be
how.
more calculated style approach compared, like you said, the first time.
Yeah.
Still no hits though. Announcer's curse. I didn't say that.
I'm listening.
I mean, he's definitely gonna get hit. That way, either way, I look good. I'm either
Ooh,
an
reverse
oracle.
psychology. Oh,
I mean,
oh, you're playing both sides. You're not
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to.
That
I'm
way, I
sorry, but
always
that
come out
doesn't
on
work. I've tried that one before. It just makes it worse.
top. Have you tried self-deprecating the internet?
I can try.
We'll leave that strategy as an exercise to the viewers today, I think. But yeah, you'll see one of the most dangerous attacks that Lerny also does is the shooting spikes from his head at very rapid fire, and he hides behind the pillar very beautifully. Positioning is surprisingly not as forgiving as you would think. So he is very effective at safe
Yeah,
positioning here. And man, I'm getting distracted just watching all of the projectiles on the map here. There's so much to manage, and Nitro is doing it beautifully.
it's tough in this one in particular because you can't see everything that's going on, so you might dash into one area and with the assumption that this is my safe spot, and then from left field or right field you have a projectile coming there and your dash is just expired, and you'll just take a hit that wasn't even up to you, you know.
Yeah, but we are on the third and final phase now. I don't think there are any special. Actually, no. I guess the extra head slams is the thing, but they're usually this is usually pretty similar to phase two. We're going to see the spike attacks again and safe positioning from
Yeah,
Nitro. Very nice, using the delayed doom to proc the kill. Very well done.
awesome job on a less than ideal set of RNG so far.
Yeah. Yeah, being able to perform this fight damageless without even close to the full build, and you don't even have the safety circle of Athena on the special either. Like that just really shows the build awareness and environmental awareness that Nitro has. He can't just like rely on he's not just relying on the kit to provide safety for himself. He's being very sly with movement, being very specific with his dashes. It's honestly incredible.
All right, moving on to Elysium here.
So yeah, we do get just as a reminder, these guys do have the rebirth mechanic where once you kill them, their like soul pops out and they can respawn again if you're not able to clear the souls quickly enough. Um, and swordsmen in particular are a bane of hitless and fresh file runners alike, because their like sword swipe attack that you might see, there's very little tell that they're going to do it, and they pretty much perform it in like a matter of a couple of frames. Like you can see him just walking away trying to bait it out because there's really just no way to tell when you're up close and personal. It's so easy to just take a hit instantly and lose a run.
Yeah, especially in the chaos and the rhythm of the middle of the room, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
A chariot awaits. Nice. Don't even give him a chance.
Yeah,
That's exactly what he's doing.
yeah. I was about to say that these guys can be brutal for first time fresh filers. It's very scary seeing those things rush you, not being able to meaningfully control them. But Nitro is beautifully baiting out their attacks and being aggressive at just the right time to deal damage.
Yeah, the chariot speed will surprise you, especially like if he's doing what he's doing there and not giving him a chance to charge. If you do though, especially these little ones, nice. You'll see that little deflect pop up.
Again, dealing with the really scary mini chariots. They're basically just going to rush at you and explode again. And
But Athena's doing work though.
yeah, you can deflect the explosions, kind of, but that's not always a guarantee. The easiest and safest way is to bait them into walls, which is what Nitro is doing beautifully here. Ooh, finally getting another Athena.
Yeah.
Ooh, now we see the second mini boss. In Fresh File, there are two mini bosses offered. Um, the other is the Butterfly Ball, which is like exactly like the enemies that we have seen in um, the regular encounter so far, but just much more health. And in this fight in particular, there's going to be a lot of eyeball spawning, which is kind of the inverse of what happens in normal rooms. Usually, eyeballs don't start the spawns, but yeah, you see Nitro very, very cleanly taking down armored enemies that have happened to spawn in, and still not taking damage. Very, very masterfully baiting attacks and switching to other enemies where appropriate.
Also using the room to his advantage there, knowing he can't cross that. Nice, cool.
There we go. That was a really beautiful. Oh man!
Finally, yeah, I mean, you've got Athena, and that's what you get.
Really looking for that special there.
Yeah, we're looking for the special there.
The only way to get Merciful End, the full damage combo is by getting the Athena special and then another Ares or Athena. And unfortunately, that's just the game sometimes. It is a roguelike. There's a lot of randomness. You can't predict what you're going to get when you're going to get it. And Nitro's really just rolling with the punches here. But he's still, again, doing a brilliant job for taking 0 hits at this point with this kind of build.
Yeah, you have to imagine despite the less than fortunate RNG, he's had this exact same setup probably 50 to 100 times, maybe more. So it's not as much of a wild card to him as it might be to somebody else trying this on, their first 100 tries. Oh, there's a shot.
Mm. Although to be honest, I think if Nitro was getting this in a speedrun, he would have reset like
Right.
3 minutes in.
Yeah, he was talking about it. He was like, I know at this point what I'm looking for, and if I'm not getting it, I'll just reset. But with
Yeah.
an event like this, we're trying to showcasing what's going on, and he's, despite all that, like, with that said, still adapting. Yeah, these rooms are tough. Elysium's a nightmare.
There's also the Doomstones as well. Those don't damage you directly, but they provide invulnerable effects around the enemies.
Oh,
Which also, oh man, hit number
two.
2. Yeah, it really really dangerous. They provide invulnerable effects to the enemies, and basically you have to kill them first, and then the enemy that they made invulnerable. It's kind of a nightmare. Yeah, oh, 5 swordsmans, man.
Yeah,
That is so risky. Very beautifully diving in after
yeah.
he's baited out all the attacks.
Yeah, he takes this like mediated aggression approach where he doesn't dial it back, but you could tell it there's like a calculation to it.
Oh
Well
yeah.
done.
And there is Dionysus, another Olympian god on the door there, but for Fresh File in general, you really don't want to see anything but Ares and Athena. You do get offered other gods, which you may have seen so far. For those more familiar with Hades, Artemis and Dionysus are the other 2 gods that you would love to, or that you can see in your first run. But again, we really just don't want to see them. Oof, yeah. There's another attack pattern we haven't talked about yet. The spearmen in particular, they will basically just rush you. Ah, man.
Quite personally, I'll take any chance to see Aphrodite. Personally, game aside. So speak for yourself there. She's a
Jeez.
certified babe.
Oh man.
Ooh, the Atch they're my least favorite. Nice.
Yeah, that was a really dangerous room. You had
Yeah.
spearmen diving in on your position. You had armored bowmen, which will um armored bowmen, which would shoot out 3 at a time.
Not
Uh,
to mention Bowman in 4 corners of the room. It's
yeah,
different.
that
It's
was
different when they're together. But he had one in, I think, all 4 corners. All right, here we go. Yep, and just like the archers in Elysium, Theseus will have that same. You'll see that target pop up on Zagreus.
and there's really careful positioning too. He is throwing his spear out. As you can see, it's not the center of attention, but it's a minute detail that's going on. You can get hit in both sides, both the throw out and the pullback. So really baiting the attacks into the pillars, you'll see like really masterful positioning.
Right.
The vast majority of the time, he'll be baiting it into a pillar, so he doesn't have to worry about the damage on the way back.
Yeah, he's essentially, when he can, taking 2 pillars and walking or jumping, no less, the Minotaur back and forth just to simplify the fight for himself.
Man, that was an absolute beautiful positioning there. He baited out the spear into a pillar while also baiting Asterius to jump across him. Man, like the skill expression here is actually mind-boggling. It might seem like a really smooth flow to people who are not familiar with Hades, but pulling off this level of like precise execution hitless is I'm I'm flabbergasted. I'm literally at a loss for words.
It could get scary here. Sometimes Theseus will walk away. It's sometimes ideal to have them both in your view. You can kind of keep track of them. Sometimes he'll go off and do his thing, get a drink of water or something, or call his mom. I don't know what he's doing, but here we go.
That's what I'd
Theseus,
be doing if I had to face
yeah.
Nitro.
Get me out of here.
Oof. And yeah, Theseus is like in phase 1 is at least a little bit more predictable. You can kind of bait out that spin attack and then just dash in the opposite direction. That's kind of one of the speedrun techs that you'll see, but it's also hitless. Like one of the things about Fresh File Spear Dragon in general is that you don't have a large health pool. You don't have any revives. You don't have ways to save yourself. So the tech that you build up while learning to speedrun is like still very useful for a um, hitless. Wow. Okay. So Theseus called on Artemis that time. That a barrage
Yeah.
of arrows. That's a that will track your position if it wasn't clear. Nitro was dodging that in a beautiful
Oof.
triangle,
Yeah.
beautiful triangle formation on that first call.
Yeah, what are you looking for? Like, what are you preferring Theseus does? I mean, what on the first run he got? What, Dionysus?
Yeah, it's if you're building with Ares and Athena, it's going to be either Dionysus or Artemis. And if you somehow get all four gods, it's still going to be Artemis. And even Artemis is more predictable, but it is more aggressive. There is that like delay in targeting too. So like Nitro was able to like navigate into that position to stay safe. But Dionysus is like not as rough in terms of like projectiles thrown out, but the randomness can be a killer. But yeah, we're going into Styx for the second time. Again,
We don't know. This could be 5 rooms. We'll see. Or 5 tunnels.
one little nuance that hasn't been explained yet. You'll see the modded game text in the top right. This is kind of like a charity event friendly set of mods that will basically not make Nitro reset 50 times in a row on stream. One of the benefits of that is the Satyr Sack can appear as early as Tunnel 2, and that will just always be the case with these mods. It really just makes sure that the run just doesn't go on unnecessarily long in the tournament context or in a charity event context. So fortunately, we will just be doing 2 tunnels here, but in the leaderboard legal fresh file, you can sometimes still get as many as 5 tunnels that you have to just gruelingly trudge through and try to survive.
Right. You see, he takes dire misfortune there. That's gonna any of his Ares Doom effects will they'll deal more damage if he can proc them multiple times. So, for those that
It's
are wondering what that looks like, you see that little thing above the enemy's head.
Yeah, it's really just grasping at like any sort of straws. Like he was really hoping to see Merciful End show up there.
Right. He was talking about that. He was like, "Give me that." That was the first thing I was like, "What are you looking for?" And he goes, "Merciful End, please."
But yeah, ever since he's had that special slot filled, that second core boon on the left, he's been eligible to get the Merciful End duo. Oof, poison.
How do we you call that
I think
one,
that's
right?
just one. There's like a second
Yeah.
long grace period. This is probably the most brutal mini boss for Hitless. The rat is constantly spewing poison pools, as you can see. We've already taken a hit from it. He also has like a really powerful charge attack.
And he's an
Yeah.
absolute tank.
Yeah, and plus enemy spawn. It's just a nightmare. But Nitro is using a lot of beautiful positioning to bait the rat into like trap locations, and he can activate the traps by stepping on the pressure pads and deal a ton of damage to the mini boss. Um, that's a really really powerful play here because he doesn't have Merciful End to just power through. He's got a his damage is really slow without that.
Yeah, I think that shows the difference between someone with as much practice in a run like this as Nitro and someone newer. I mean, a newer runner is going to have the traps as a detriment. Nitro's using them to his advantage. I think these guys have one of the toughest attack keys in the game. It's very subtle. That poison dart will come out of left field. Quick work.
Yeah, even without the full damage build, like Nitro is very effective at iterating through the full sword attack cycle, and like it still is a lot of base damage without Merciful End, but it's still not ideal. All right, here's the final chance that we're gonna get for Merciful End, and we don't get it. Man, that's really unfortunate. Taking sure footing there to take less damage from traps. In hitless context, we normally doesn't matter, but we are. I think we're approaching the point where we need to just finish up this run and get a clear for the event and showcase what the final fight is fully like and what the full clear is finally like.
Yeah, we'll set a PB here, and then I think we'll have time for probably one more, right?
This is gonna be the last run, unfortunately. I think there are
I told him to try and beat the 18 minutes if we have time. Go speed run on the Hitless channel.
Yeah, we're gonna need to get a 200-hour long live stream, and then he maybe might get close. But yeah, I think we will have enough time for an interview afterwards. I think there is a little bit of host swapping that needs to be done on the Team Hitless side for tech
That's
stability.
Right. They want to do the post game interview. That's true.
Yeah, so I think we'll wrap this one up, and then we'll go in for the interview and hear from the legend himself.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Like I said, we definitely don't have time for another fresh file because we gotta get ready for the relay race, and unfortunately, most likely going to be a host swap just because the relay race is our biggest event for today. So I think it would be best to be on the safe side. Although,
Yeah,
shout
absolutely.
out to Luca for being a Giga Chat because it's going to be tough. It's really really tough to be on the broadcast side for that one. You'll see, it's a good reason it's tough, but like I said, he doesn't have a Stream Deck XL like I do, so his hotkeys are gonna be vital.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I said, just got to be patient with us, chat. But like I said, the relay race is slated to start at noon, so yeah. But yeah, thanks for being flexible, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately, Hades is short enough. And for those watching along on the phase 1.2, we had probably the worst RNG we'd have gotten: 2 super elite archers. And those aren't just normal armored archers. There's like a little enemy AI in their case. They have a lot of extra health, and they shoot 10 arrows in a row in quick succession. And they can't be staggered through that until you break their armor. Nitro didn't get hit, incredibly.
That's because they have the IQ of a bag of rocks as they shoot the wall 10 times. How come I'm not hitting them?
I mean, if that's what it takes. But still, like, also dodging Hades' attacks while he was positioning for that, like, and the fact that we don't have ideal damage. So really, like, this is just pure raw skill expression from Nitro here. And I think as far as like event showcasing go, I think this is ideal for commenting. Because he's not going to speed through the boss fight too fast, and we can actually take our time and talk about what's going on. Oof. Oh yeah, he just had to. Those skulls do explode into the rings, as we've mentioned before, but he didn't have the damage to kill them in time.
Sometimes you make that call. Do I kill it, or do I just assume I don't have time and I just get ready to dodge?
Yeah. Cool. Hopefully this is the last darkness that we'll see.
Yeah, that's one of those split seconds decisions you make on these runs that it probably comes as you get more seasoned.
Okay, phase 1.2, we're looking pretty solid so far. I've taken no hits in this fight. Oof. Yeah, that 3 combo swing is brutal. You either have to be very far away or like dash through him at perfect timing.
Yeah, that dash, he maybe had like a fraction of a. Ooh, okay, that's 2.
Yeah, like that. I think it that might count as. Is that just 1 for a 1 second cooldown? I don't remember the specific info or details, but
if that's the case, then yeah, 1.
He is taking a little bit of time to clear out the pots too, just because that was a source of.
Kappa said it's 1. We're going with the Parliament over there.
Thank you, Kappa. Blessed.
Kappa is law.
Some little nuance there that was really hard to. It took me a little bit to figure out what Nitro was doing, but he was baiting Hades to aim the lasers at the remaining pots, and then he would sneak behind him to deal damage. Like that took me a little bit to decipher, actually.
That's like we were talking about the rat room earlier, using your disadvantages and turning them into advantage. That's like high skill stuff.
Oh yeah. All right, part 2, the lasers become basically a complete radius, but you can get up close and just sit in like right next to Hades, and you don't get a hit.
It looks insane. You're like, what are you doing?
It's really scary the first time you do it, but after a little bit, it's just second nature to go in and give your dad a hug.
Yeah, I definitely do it all the time, guys. I'm so good at it.
But yeah. Approaching the final little bits of Hades' health bar. It was taking time to do pots. I think that's it. Yeah. GG.
Nice.
Well done, Nitro. Absolutely
that was
incredible
awesome
work. Taking only 6 hits throughout an entire fresh file clear. Absolutely incredible.
Done.
With the less than ideal boon path.
We didn't even get the ideal damage case either. Like that's just more time that you could have been taking hits. But no, this is a
Yeah. Sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes you get pinned in a corner RNG wise, and the adaptability, I don't know, it sometimes brings out like the better runner in you. I don't know what it is about that, but
yeah, that really just goes to show how powerful practice is for thousands of hours. But yeah, here we go. First fresh file clear, let alone, unfortunately we couldn't get his goal of 3 hits or less, but still absolutely incredible performance from Nitro.
Yeah, good point. Clearing alone is insane.
Ooh, you can see one of the nice little mod pack enhancements is the splits on the side there. He had a Tartarus in under 5 minutes, that is really, really difficult to do. That is incredible.
Everyone's been crushing it. Even yesterday, shout out to Melly who got a run in Blasphemous. 1 hit Crash 4 from Cookie. Calamity crushed in Hollow Knight, and today's been awesome so far. Shout out to Nitro.
Hello.
Hey Nitro. Congrats. That was an incredible showcase.
Yeah, that was 2 awful runs. Remember when I said that I had no luck when I did a charity event in March? Well, that's the same.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
That second run in particular.
Yeah, the second run, like getting Athena special by the end of Elysium is just like, I mean, Athena, come on, please. And the first run was not bad, but Hades did so many things. He did his best combo. Not gonna lie, he did the best. Like, it was barely dodgeable. I did my best, but I died because I think I was tilted by taking the second hit, and then I didn't focus on the double spin he did after. But anyway, I'm happy I got a clear, so that's nice.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely be proud of today. You put in a lot of awesome work. I think you did a really great job showcasing Hades Fresh File especially, but
all right, guys.
The nuance of Hitless that he put in too, it's wild. It's wild to see. It was so cool. Well done.
Thank you. I'm kind of disappointed taking 6 hits on the second run, but that's okay. I mean, after the first run, I'm not gonna be too lazy on this.
I just wanted to make it clear for everybody watching at home. Nitro's downplaying the success here, but this is the peak of Fresh File talent that you will see.
Yeah, like I don't think
Absolutely
I could pay
incredible.
any more like runners to get to be better than this. You know what I mean? I didn't pay Nitro, by the way. Not saying that. I'm just saying that.
Oh, you let it spill.
Someone delete the VOD. Where's my internet going down? Come on, quick.
You guys are getting paid. What the?